Hi, it's me, Gatsby from Gatskin. And, oh God, something's terribly wrong. It hurts so much. Oh, that's what that was. I guess the higher powers wanted a visual update? You know, that's the thing about being an artist sometimes, is that your ability to draw will slowly change over time, whether it's the typical vertical growth that comes with improvements to one's technical art knowledge and capabilities, or just going into a completely different direction compared to your previous work. Or heck, maybe just subtle changes throughout the years. The things you drew 5 years ago aren't the same things you draw now, and what you draw 5 years from now won't be the same either. Just like how we slowly change throughout the years, our art reflects that as well. Sometimes it can be a real blast to look back at your previous art and recollect on the past. And I decided to do that by looking at some of my old digital art. And I found this monstrosity. Look, I really try to be kind to my past self when it comes to my old art, but mush.png here just hurts to look at. The janky line art, the horrendous choice of colors with these barf-inducing green and orange. And what is with these blinding blotches of cyan? Some failed attempt at using vibrant colors to shade, or showing that these disgusting mushroom freaks are radioactive and need to be taken out back to end the suffering that is their existence. These are the faces not even God loves. That's not even the worst part. The worst part is that I drew this 6 years ago in April of 2018, I think, when I was a senior in high school. Look, I know we all have to start somewhere, and beginner artists are the future, but I strongly believe I wasn't even trying for this piece. Like, look at this art I made in January of 2018. Like, yes, this is also far from the best, with many flaws of its own, but at least with whippubpixplatoon.png, I can at least look at that without feeling like I'm staring at the elephant's foot from Chernobyl. So, as an attempt to save what little self-respect I have left, I decided to draw an illustration that has the same baseline subject as the original. Walking, glowing mushroom things. With my own current, as of late November 2024, Gatskin flair. But real quick, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, me. Subscribing to Gatskin will automatically give you 1 million Gatskin dollars, which you can't use anywhere, but it would be more than what you had before. Or if you aren't fully committed to the idea yet, liking or even commenting on the video will be just as appreciated. Now let's make some art. The first step I took for planning this illustration was scribbling some ideas out in my sketchbook. It's a little hard to make out, but I doodled some mushroom guys, and then I did some thumbnails for the composition of the piece. Originally, I had plans to have the main focus be the little mushroom guys, have them be glowing in a big, dark, scary forest, looking lost and alone. But then I had this idea of somebody looking at the mushrooms as they walk past on a log. I thought this idea was cute, so that's what I went with. Not going to lie, a lot of the decisions I made while drawing this were purely based on vibes, without thinking of any deeper meaning. Like the person looking at the mushrooms as they walk by, let's make that person a witch. Because witches, woods, mushrooms, those are ideas that get associated with each other. Future elements like a black cat and an owl in a tree were later added on for a similar reason. This spontaneous approach to drawing isn't the best thing to do, I think. I should have planned this illustration out properly instead of jumping straight in. But hey, at least this time, I think I pulled it off. Nothing bad ever happens to the Gatsbys! The colors and overall vibes of this piece were very much inspired by Glim Woodtangle from Pokemon Sword and Shield, which, God, are 5 years old now, meaning they're old enough to go to kindergarten. But maybe that's not a good idea, as I fear the consequences of letting loose a Zacian in its prime out upon the children. Sure, I've gotten better at line art over the years since the drawing of the original mush.png, but even to this day, I rarely find myself fully jiving with doing line art, especially digitally, which used to stress me out to the max. I might have been the only one who felt this way when I was younger, but I truly thought the only process there was to making digital art was to make a sketch, draw the line art, color in the flats, shade the piece using a multiply or overlay layer on a lower opacity, and then add some highlights at the end. And there is nothing at all wrong with making art in this way. It works for so many people out there, but it didn't work for me. And it took me a very long time to realize that was okay. There are so many ways to go about making art that you shouldn't feel beholden to a workflow that makes you feel frustrated. In my case, I was able to figure out over the years that my favorite way to draw digital art was to make a sketch, refine or redraw that sketch as I see fit, color on either a layer underneath or on top of the sketch, and then go in with the line art shading and other details pretty much directly after. Even then, that is a bit of a simplified explanation of it. As you can tell by the speed paint, I tend to go from place to place doing whatever I see fit at the time to get the piece to a point I see fit. It's more painterly, it's messy as a style, but I also try to keep things pretty simple, as I tend to use as few layers as possible. I often just divide things between like a foreground, middle ground, background. And then that's just how I do things. You might not like doing line art at all, or you might just clean up your sketches. Heck, I knew an artist once who went straight into line art and never did any sketches. You can use as many or as few layers as you want. You can use whatever tools or brushes you want when drawing. Just do whatever makes you feel the best. Having different processes of making art depending on how you're feeling is also a very real option. Those of you who have been around my channel before know that even though it's not my favorite, as I have previously stated, I will do a sketch, line art, color, etc., depending on the piece. Art is whatever you make of it, and that's one thing that I've always found to be so interesting about art, especially now in the age of the internet, where there are millions of us artists out there sharing our work with the rest of the world. I really enjoy getting to see everyone's unique voice and hopefully creating stuff that comes from my own unique voice as well, which is something I still struggle with greatly to this day. Imposter syndrome is no joke, dear viewers. I cannot wait for the day I can finally kick that thing to the curb. After drawing the completed illustration, I went on to add a few filters to adjust the colors as I saw fit, and ended up with this. Overall, I really like how this piece came out. The little glowing mushrooms in the illustration came to rise from the ashes of their demonic forefathers to be part of a piece that I can say I like it. For now, at least. Just watch in another 6 years when 2030 comes around and I will look at this piece with the same loving embarrassment as the original. But that's just how it is, isn't it? Anyways, thank you for watching the video. I hope you had a fun guy time. Hey, it's a video about mushrooms. It was gonna happen. I hope this video brought some creativity your way. This is Gatsby from Gatskin, signing out.